Hi, welcome back to the Economic and Social Outlook Conference here at Melbourne. I'm here with Andrew Michelmore, who's a former international mining executive, and we're going to be talking about China relations. Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Andrew.
Andrew, you were in that session where you were talking about China's relations. You used to actually run a Chinese-owned mining company. You also used to run a Russian-owned mining company. You said in there that China and Russia, the feeling in those places is that Western commitment to rules and law are seen as a weakness. I'd be interested to know what the implications of that is for our relationship with China.
I think it's a very important one that when we look at things, we look through our lens and we look at the rule of the law and decisions made by the law, and we follow those. We won't go past them, and we expect others to do that. But in the case of China, no, they don't have those same laws and the commitment to international law. So if you have decisions being made, if it's a positive decision for them, they will be requiring you to run with it. But if it's not, then they tend to, well, this is not our law, we don't abide by that. And so they see it's an opportunity. It gives them flexibility. And you see some instances where, and you've seen it more recently out of Russia, where they require you to provide the evidence and put this forward and involve them, but they'd never do that. And so I think it's really understanding how the different ways of looking at it and needing to get to understand their side and how they might approach something. So I think it's just one of those factors you have to take into account.
You also suggested in there that when it comes to issues like rules of law and that the Chinese are concerned to, on the international stage, to be abiding by rules and laws.
Yes, I think it's part of reputation. They're very concerned about how they're perceived in the international arena. They are a growing superpower. They have the might, the economy, the technology, the population, but they need this international moral position which they're working towards. And they know they've got human rights issues and they've got other issues, but they are wanting to get there. And so, again, it's I see in working with China, it's about helping them. Rather than pushing back, it's trying to understand where they are in their progress and the way they're looking at things, and what might seem difficult for us, we need to get into that conversation and have it with them to try and understand more what they're trying to achieve.
It's an interesting one, though, because it's difficult, isn't it? Because in taking such an approach, I guess there's a concern to be seen to be condoning or accepting such behaviour when, in fact, we want to try and not accept that behaviour. Well, it seems a difficult thing to get through.
Absolutely, and I think you must not be seen to be condoning. You actually have to stand up and say, no, look, can I explain to you in our economy, our world, our culture, how things work and how this creates an issue for us? Now, I understand for you have a different basis. And so you show empathy for what they're working with, but you're also explaining to them how, no, that's a problem for us. And therefore I can't sit here and just condone it because I'll be seen to be weak, I'll be seen not committing to what the law has said, and really explain our position.
So in terms of Australia's approach to managing China, what would be your advice, given that you've had extensive experience, in almost 10 years, I think, working with a Chinese mining company?
I think it's getting to develop the relationship, understand what pressures, drivers, what their thinking is, spend the time to understand that and show that you're trying to understand that, but then also explain what you're trying to achieve and where there are common things, where there are positives, but also identify where there are negatives or contrasts, and being able to have a conversation around that. And it's not a punch-in-the-face approach, it's more trying to get that understanding. And I think most importantly, that takes time and commitment, but two, you don't have that conversation in the public arena. you actually have it behind closed doors so that you're in a position that you are able to make more positive comments when you come out, rather than the first thing you read about it is someone's being punched in the nose in response to, what do you think about this issue?
I guess that's the difficult thing with difference between being in government and being in business, isn't it? In that government relations are often out there in the public domain to be seen. It's very hard to work behind closed doors.
No, I don't think so. I think you have to spend the time and effort. I would make multiple trips to China every year. I would sit down and have dinner with the people or have a meal, would talk through various things. And so when serious issues come up, you've got a relationship in which you can raise it. That's the sorts of things you should be doing behind the scenes, and have your people with the antennas out, ready to be able to have a ability to be able to have that conversation privately. Now, if it doesn't progress, then yeah, sure, you've got to come out publicly and be seen to be standing up for what you believe in.
Have we been doing enough of that as a country?
I think we can always do more.
Good on you, Andrew. Thanks very much for your time on this.
It's a pleasure, Andrew. Thank you.